What's up, and welcome to episode 269 of First Geek 411. I'm your host, Cameron Franklin, and with me, as always, from West Coast, Best Coast, is Emma. How are you doing?
Good. It's a Monday.
Mm-hmm.
I have no more trips planned until like October, and even that's just a short weekend thing.
Yeah, well, we're
Woo!
glad you're back.
I have returned.
We did miss you last week. Shanine and I had a good time chatting Daggerheart. Um, I'll do the hand wavy thing. Let's go back and try to find that. Thank you, Sneaky, calling out that I forgot to switch to Emma's name, so it still said Shanine. Appreciate
Yes,
you.
hi. I am Shanine.
Yeah, thank you, Sneaky. But yeah, this week, our main topic of the show is going to be D23 and the announcements that we got from that. Then we are also going to be doing a spoiler-free conversation around Deadpool and Wolverine. And then, assuming we have time, we're going to also chat about the Borderlands movie completely bombing in the theater and the things that the CEO of Gearbox has said after
Ooh, I
that
haven't
occurred.
seen that.
And
I'm
so,
excited to hear
yeah,
about that.
their CEO has had some unhinged takes before, and this is something. And so, yeah, so that's what we're going to be up to this week. Before we get into what we have been up to this past week, as always, you can find us on our social media as OneGeek411. Join that Discord server. Shoot us an email at 1stgeek411@gmail.com. Watch live on Twitch and YouTube Monday nights around 6:45 Mountain Time. You can leave comments in that YouTube section as well. Like, comment, do all of that stuff too. And then you can also check out our Redbubble store. Emma, what all have you been up to this past week?
Several things. Last weekend I was at a family reunion that I haven't been to in quite some time. It was a lot of fun, and I got to hang out with baby nephew, who is a year and a half old. So he's not so much a baby yet, but a toddler now, and he's adorable. And among his various words are Jesus, tree, and ago for avocado. So he's very cute.
An avocado.
Yeah, he says ago, and it's so cute. And he says boo for blueberry. So, yeah, he's very cute, and I love him so much. Um, and that's what I was doing last weekend. And per usual, I've been watching the Olympics as I've been doing work because I like the Olympics and they're a lot of fun. And now I have to wait another 2 years for the Winter Olympics and another 4 for the Summer Olympics. And if I'm still here in 4 years, I'm going to be seeing the Olympics in person because they are here in 4 years, which is wild. But anyway, that's been fun. Just Friday night, I also saw Deadpool and Wolverine. A little good time, great time. We'll talk about that later. First Marvel movie I've seen in a while. Anyway, I will not get into a thing now. And then, because it's also on topic, I started / picked up Borderlands 3 again to recover from third-hand embarrassment.
Yeah.
Which makes total sense. I was like, this thing, I haven't even gone to see it, but I was like, it's doing so terribly. I'm gonna go play one of the most recent games so I don't feel so embarrassed.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it's great. It reminded me of why I started playing video games to begin with.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm not gonna see the movie, but the games are great.
Yeah. In chat, Sneaky says I already have Olympics withdrawals. Like, for real. Like, I forgot to put Olympics in my, like, what I've been up to. But yeah, it's been so great watching it. So many awesome stories. I know, like, the
So
Olympics,
many.
like, YouTube channel put up, like a wholesome moments of, like, athletes interacting with their family in the stands. And it was, like, the best thing ever.
Yep.
And
All of
then,
the cute little proposals that happened.
yeah.
Like, a runner proposed to her boyfriend with a pin that she ran with, and it was so cute.
Yeah. Like, there was the woman that I think I know she won. She might have also set the world record for long jump. I could be wrong. but like she at least got the gold, and her boyfriend husband is also like a Paralympic athlete.
Oh, I saw
And
this. He was a runner.
yeah, and so like that was
Yeah.
really cool. But like what's really funny is like she jumps as like her thing. So it's really funny of when she like runs over to the stands, she clears so much height to get
Yep.
like into the like to give him a hug, and it's just like the most like hilarious looking thing as she like
Yep.
almost clears the like the wall to get to him. And it's just
Yep.
like, yes, this is awesome. And then
This is how you use your talents appropriately.
exactly.
To hug your significant other after a big achievement.
Exactly. Then there was the person that was like the final marathon person, and like all the
Yep.
people cheering for her as she was coming through. Like so many awesome things. In chat, Sneaky says, and who saw the popularity of rugby sevens with Alona Mayer coming out of nowhere, right?
Yes.
Like props to the rugby team. Like
Yes.
it's definitely, I think we beat Australia for the bronze. I think it was what it was.
Yeah.
And
Which was a huge upset.
yeah. And apparently like Australia just got like shafted with like back-to-back upsets
Yeah.
of like, I think they lost to Canada and then lost
Yep.
to us in back-to-back. It's like, oh man, like that's brutal. Like I watched a little bit of it, but shout out to like the US women's soccer as well.
Yep.
And then we watched the 4x1 4x100 relay. Like we watched that like during lunch at like a pizza place, and I forget her first name, but her last name is Richardson. Like when she like takes off sprinting, like everyone in the restaurant was like just stopped and was like, wow, like
Yep.
that was insane.
Yep.
And so oh man, it was fantastic. Yeah, Olympics are always great. It seems like, especially with so many eyes of late on women's sports too.
Yep.
Like, seeing the women's, like, I think I saw 65% of the U.S. medals were women's sports. So like,
Yep.
shout out to that. Oh, Sha'Carri Richardson. Thank you, Sneaky. That's the runner I was thinking of. And so yeah, that's a good.
Do you want a fun fact?
Yes.
A personal fun fact is that when I was like 5 years old, I wanted to be an Olympic soccer mom. So I wanted to be an Olympic soccer player and a mom at the same time. It didn't last long because my soccer team stopped giving us snacks, so I quit.
See,
I'm
like, that's
sure
what I thought you
I've told
meant.
that. I'm sure I've mentioned that at some point where I played soccer for a while and then told my mom I didn't want to play anymore because they stopped giving us fun snacks.
Mhm.
And with that died the dream of being an Olympic soccer mom.
That's awesome.
So
Hey, you work with what you got.
yeah,
And so-
exactly. I just thought they got really good snacks at the Olympics, so I was like, yes, I want to
mean-
go to the Olympics to get their chocolate muffins.
Yeah. I want to shout out the official like Olympic YouTube again for this. They put out a like memes of the Olympics video and brought
And
up
it's
the muffins
great.
that were there.
The muffins,
Oh, man.
pommel horse Superman.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. Ken does Ken's job is pommel horse.
Yeah.
Like, oh, it's so good. It's awesome
This is
memes.
Ken. His job is pommel horse.
Yeah. But yeah, I loved it all. And so,
Did you see? I'm gonna mention this as well, but he on Twitter had a whole exchange with Elmo from
Yes.
Sesame Street,
yes.
where Elmo's like, Elmo wants to be an Olympic specialist when he grows up, and it was adorable.
Yeah. That awakened a goal in me, which is to have Elmo tweet at me.
Yes.
Like that is
It's
something
such a good goal.
Yeah, like I don't know how I achieved that in my life, but like that's definitely something I would like to happen.
And
to,
it's
like,
such a wholesome goal.
exactly.
If you have Elmo tweeting at you, you know you've made it.
Exactly. Like yeah, I was not aware that was a goal. I don't remember ever being like a Sesame Street fan, but like I need that in my life now.
Yes.
And so
we love Elmo on this channel.
Sneaky calls out that Steve Pummelhorse guy was also at one point in the top 2% of Rocket League players.
Yep.
So like shout out to him for that.
Which
He's
is
one of
also
us.
Fabulous.
Yeah, he's one of us. And so.
And he just, solves Rubik's Cubes while he's sitting there waiting for his one job, which is to pommel horse.
Which is just the pommel horse. But yeah.
We love the Olympics.
Yeah.
Okay, continue.
So for me, I went and played some Commander this past week. Went to my LGS again. So that was a lot of fun. I played my Hamza deck, and then I played my Rashmi and Raghavan deck. And so games were great. Didn't win any this week, which was perfectly fine after getting back-to-back wins last week. But it was very cool. We had a new player in one of our pods, and so that was always fun. Somebody that's like new to the game, learning it. He did get the win. I was a little bitter because it was I just need to draw like literally anything. And I was like one turn behind killing him for like 3 turns. And then he beat me. And I was just like, man, like, yeah, I just had like multiple turns where it was just like, if I had one more creature, I could get the win. If I had one more spell, I could do like stuff like that. But hopefully it was a great experience. Like I said, always good to be playing with people that are learning the game and coming in. And so,
I haven't played in a while with my I haven't played in a while with my Doctor Who deck, and it makes me kind of sad.
Yeah,
because
we definitely need to play some. I've been bringing that one with me. I haven't broken it out because we haven't been. That's like I haven't upgraded that one, so it's still the pre-con, and so I haven't like had a chance to break it out in quite a while either. Now that I think about it. But yeah.
We also just haven't had a MTG game night here in a while, so it's just sitting on the shelf waiting for the day that I can pull it out again and go, haha. Yeah. Here it is.
Let's see. So you started playing Borderlands 3. I was considering playing Borderlands 3. Kind of similar mindset for you as what you shared. I ended up not. I ended up picking up Dredge instead, which is one of the games from last year that was nominated for Best Indie Game. It's on PlayStation Plus. I don't know how long it's been there, but like I have been really enjoying it. It's basically like a Cthulhu fishing simulation where like you're this fisher that gets stranded in this creepy island and then things are not what they seem. And so I've been really enjoying it so far. I played about 3 hours over on Cameron
I've watched a Let's
Diana.
Play of this.
Yeah, highly recommend.
Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt.
No, you're good. Highly recommend. I really enjoyed my like 2.5, 3 hours that I got to stream over there, and I'm looking forward to playing more of it. It's a relatively short game. Like I think like the platinum is like 10 to 12 hours, and so I'm excited to go and play more of that, and at least see what I get up to. And then I have officially finished reading the Lunar Chronicles. And
nice.
So this is the
congratulations.
cyberpunk fairy tale. And so with Cinder being the first book, and then last week when we were chatting, when she and I were chatting, I had just started Stars Above, which is a series of like 6 like side stories that lead into the various like portions of the book. And it's kind of like prequels for all of the characters. Then there's like an epilogue for the series as like the final short story.
Yes.
And
so what all is there? There's the first one is Cinderella.
So there's Cinder, which is based on Cinderella, Scarlet, which is Little Red Riding Hood, Cress, who is based on Rapunzel. The name doesn't work there, but like she's based on Rapunzel. And then Winter, who is Snow White. And then there's a 5th book called Fairest, which is the evil queen. And then there's Stars Above, which is like the lead in for everyone. And so
amazing.
Yeah.
And is it all like one universe, like it's all connected?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's
nice.
One like cohesive story across all of the books, with like every book introduces like the new character, but they basically join the party. And so like,
oh, that's cool.
yeah, so like Cinder is the protagonist of all of the books, but she meets these other characters as she goes. And so,
That's
and like
cool.
some of them are introduced early. Like I think Cress is introduced in Scarlet, but like then she becomes like the main character or the new main like focus character of the next book and stuff like that. And so, really cool. Really enjoyed it. It's a very fun read. It's kind of like Hunger Gamesy in terms of like target audience reading level type stuff, which I really enjoyed. It's like a super fun
read
read.
Cinder.
Yeah,
I read Cinder back in high school.
Yeah.
My senior year of high school, so it's definitely that.
Yeah.
Area.
It's like that vibe.
Yeah.
One of the things I love about like the audiobook journey that I'm on is just like stumbling across these things, and it's like, oh, here's a completed 6-book series. I guess I'm gonna just read all of them, and so. And then we'll talk about it more in like announcements as well. I'm also back to Jonathan Strange and Mr. Norrell. Still don't really know what's happening. I'm like 5 more chapters in. And so here we are. So book club on that at the end of the month. And so
we are.
And then last thing, in Dallas, we have a thing called Restaurant Week. I think this is something that a handful of cities do. It's always really fun. And so basically a bunch of restaurants do a like modified menu for about a month, and some of the proceeds go to the North Texas Food Bank and another charity as well that I can't remember the name of. And so every year we try to go with some friends and we try out a new restaurant. And so we did that over the weekend as well. We went to an Italian place and I had like lobster pasta, and it was fantastic. 10 out of 10. And yeah, so that was really fun. We've gone to like a handful of like just different places. Last year was probably one of like the worst restaurant experiences I've ever had at what was like supposed to be like one of the best steakhouses in Dallas. And man, it was like, I think I was talking to one of my coworkers about it today. I think we arrived 15 minutes early for our reservation and then ended up waiting 45 minutes after our reservation to be seated.
Oof.
And then
that is rough.
Yeah. And then we were where the table was positioned, we were like in the main thoroughfare for the wait staff. And so like people kept coming by, chairs kept getting bumped and like stuff like that. Of course, like other people getting up and walking around from various tables. And then like on top of it, like the food just wasn't great.
Yeah.
And it's like, I could forgive a lot if it was an amazing like thing, but the food was just fine. The friends we went with last year, and like they brought up like, they don't even think they got all of what they ordered. And so it was just like stuff like that. And it was just a horrible experience. So like this year was like the opposite of like, we had a great wait staff, great restaurant, great food. Yeah. Everyone loved what they had. We haven't seen these friends in a little bit, just because of time. And so it was really cool to get to chat with them and get to catch up. Yeah, it was awesome. Restaurant Week is always a blast. And so it's fun to get to try out places. And again, some of the proceeds get to go to charity, which is always nice as well. But with that, let's jump into our main topics. Of course, if you're watching in Twitch or over on YouTube, let us know what you were up to this past week. We'll hit up Twitch things in the post-show chat and then try to hit those YouTube comments. But let's get into the news. Up first, we had D23 this past weekend. And so this is the ultimate Disney fan experience. And every year there's lots of fun announcements, things like that. We're going to focus primarily on the Disney Entertainment Showcase when it comes to our discussion about this. There were other panels. There was a panel that was very focused on like the park and other experiences and stuff like that. We're going to not really focus on those just for the sake of all of this. Oh, also seeing what you just posted in chat, I started a new batch of mead this week. So we're excited about that. And so we'll talk post-show about that. But yeah, so we're going to focus on this Disney Entertainment. This is the one that's focused on movies, TV, things like that. As always, I'm going to just read through the list, Emma. Stop me when there's one you want to talk about. Otherwise, we'll just kind of circle back to all of them at the end. And so, let's see. So we got a new trailer for Moana 2. And then we also got we got the official title for Avatar 3, which is Fire and Ash, continuing the other Avatar analogies of this series as well. Of like,
I'm mostly just curious for this one if they will continue the trend we've seen of all visuals, no script.
Mm-hmm.
All visuals, no story.
Yeah. Fantastic cinematography, fantastic CG.
Because it's all
paper
beautiful
thin plot.
And like, stunning.
Yeah.
Until you actually spend 2 minutes paying attention to what's happening, and you're like, what's happening?
Yeah.
Nothing.
So it's like, at least like the plot is good in the sense of like, it doesn't make you like want to hit your head against a rock, but like, yeah. It would be nice if the plot was remotely in line with the amount of effort that they put into the effects and stuff like that.
They put in so much effort into the visuals. I just want to see even like 10% of that effort put into the script.
Yeah.
Like if they put in even just 10% of that effort into the script, it would actually win Oscars and not just be up for nominations.
Yeah. It's just like the type of stuff I would love for your hard to attain medal to not be called unobtainium. Like just stuff like that. Like, that was definitely a placeholder name that made it through. And so, and then with that, we also got the release date of December 19th, 2025. I think we knew like generally when that was going to be released, but I don't think we also we had like a specific date. We also got the announcement of a new, I believe, it's a Inside Out spinoff from Dream Productions called Win or Lose. And so it's going to be premiering in December. And so it looks cool. We got the announcement of Toy Story 5. Like,
I still think that we should have just finished up with Toy Story 3 and left it at that. We don't need 4, we don't need 5, we don't need anything else. We just need the first 3 and we're good. Why are we even having this conversation still? We don't need any more. 3 was a solid ending to the franchise. Why do we have a 4? Why do we have a 5?
Yeah. I really don't like the analogy of like corporations did this as a cash grab, because the point of every corporation is to make money. But like, of all the things that are cash grabby, Toy Story 4 really feels like the biggest one. But like at the same time, I also feel like I can't be mad because it's actually good. Like there are so many like I've only seen it once. Like my take was like, this is one of the best movies I never cared for or never needed, because Toy Story 3's finale is just perfect. And so, but like Toy Story 4 was really good. I really enjoyed that one. Don't really know why we're still getting these again, other than money. But like, hey, if they've got a story to tell, like, hopefully that's something for people. And so, let's see. We also got Elio, which is going to premiere in June 2025. And we also got the announcement of Incredibles 3. Let's go.
Yes.
I'm super hyped for this. This is definitely one of my like big announcements. I love the Incredibles. People can go find our tier list for when we ranked all the Pixar movies. And so I'll try to remember to go add the tag after I trim off the beginning of this. Love the Incredibles. I'm so excited. And I cannot wait for whatever this movie is going to be. We also got... Yeah. We also got the some new information on Zootopia 2. Which is also gonna have I always forget how to say it. Like Ke Huy Quan, and
I
so
love how much love he has been getting
Mm-hmm.
since Squid Games. It is
Yeah.
so well deserved. It is such good love.
Yeah. He's gonna be playing Gary the Snake, and so shout out to that. And Zootopia is my favorite, like, air quotes, modern Disney movie, like CG Disney movie.
Mm-hmm.
And so I'm very excited for us to get more of it. We also got some concept art for Frozen 3, and then got the announcements of the Frozen stage show, like theater performance, is going to be added to Disney Plus.
Yeah, I was
And
gonna say
so,
when I first read that title, I was like, we already. I thought it meant that like a Frozen Broadway musical was coming, and my brain was like, it already exists, but I didn't get to the part that said like it's getting filmed to then be put on Disney Plus. So that's cool.
yeah, I'm very excited. I've seen like some of the like costume changes and stuff that they do, and I'm very
Yeah.
excited to get to watch it. Like, it was very cool as someone who like never got to see Hamilton on Broadway. It was very cool when they put that on Disney Plus and getting to see that. And so anything that makes theater more accessible, I think, is a huge win.
Yep.
In the realm of Star Wars, we got a trailer for Skeleton Crew. And then we also got some footage for Andor Season 2. I'm hyped for Andor. It looks really... Season 1 is so good, and is something that, like, I feel like was a very rough start, and then becomes, like, this very cool spy thriller. And I really liked. Did you have something you were going to say there?
Yes, but it's not really related to Star Wars.
Okay.
And it is that something further down the list. I want you to guess which one of them I am most excited for from all of these announcements.
Okay.
When you get to it.
Okay.
There is one that I am like dying for. I am so excited about it. So I want you to see if you can figure it out.
Sounds good. I will be on the lookout. And so we then got the announcement of the Jon Favreau and Dave Filoni movie, which is going to be called The Mandalorian and Grogu. To, I think, like, the surprise of literally no one.
No one.
Like, I
all.
feel like that was that. Not saying I think it's a good enough name, but just like in terms of like that name is like the lowest common denominator of like what's it named after? The two main characters. Cool.
We got you.
Yeah. And so I'm excited for that as well. Then there's a first look at Ironheart, which I am pleasantly surprised is still happening. I know there were kind of some questions around if that was one of the ones that was going to get re-scrapped in the not re-scrapped, was just going to get scrapped in the Disney changes, but that is still coming to Disney Plus sometime in 2025. And then we also got some information, and I'm going to assume that this is the one that you're talking about, on Matt Murdock suits up to take on Kingpin and the Punisher in Daredevil Born Again.
It is not, though I am very excited for Daredevil.
Okay.
Like, yes, I'm very excited for that, but it is not the one that I'm like
I just scrolled down.
Excited
I think
over. Yeah, it should be pretty obvious.
Yeah.
Once you see it, it's way far down there.
Yeah. And then also shout out to Deborah Ann Wall, who's going to be in this. And so very excited that we're getting like the OG Daredevil cast back together. And so we'll also have some stuff on that for post-show chat. I need to remember to add that to the show notes so I don't forget. And then we got what is probably my most hype announcement is that we got some more information on Agatha All Along.
Yes.
Including a, like, I don't know if it's going to necessarily be like the theme song, but it was like the cast did like a musical like performance.
It was great.
And
it's a song that was included in the trailer.
Yes, and that's kind of like
I think it's a scene, but
Okay.
not so much the theme song. Is from the sense I got, it's a scene more so than the theme song.
Makes sense.
And no, it's not the next one.
Oh, okay. Well, then I'll have to keep scrolling because that was going to be my guess. But Agatha All
Which is
Along
why I said that. I was like,
yeah. Agatha is coming out September 18th. I believe we're getting a 2-episode premiere. I am hyped. Like, again, I love WandaVision. And so I'm so excited that we're returning to this. I'm excited that Catherine Hahn is back because love her. And then also Aubrey Plaza is joining the MCU.
yes.
Also hyped for that. And so she
hyped
was
for that.
yeah, she's done some other like Marvel projects, but this is like her first time coming into the MCU, and so that's super cool. And then we also got some announcements for season 2 of Percy Jackson, which is the thing that I thought
I am excited for
you
that.
were going to be,
but not as excited as the other thing that is on this list. That is from, I will say, it's from my childhood. Percy Jackson also.
Oh,
but
okay, I might have an
but
idea.
yeah, it should be pretty obvious when you spend enough time thinking about it.
Yeah. And so this is going to be an adaptation of the second book in the series, Sea of Monsters. I don't know if I've told people this story, but I probably have said this on the podcast before. My introduction to the Percy Jackson franchise.
Did you read that one first?
No. Worse.
Okay. My introduction was I read Sea of Monsters first, so I got the entire ending of the first book spoiled for me.
Yeah. So my introduction was going to the local drive-in theater with people to watch the Sea of Monsters movie.
That's even worse.
Yeah. And so that's all I know about it or knew about it until this show. Well, like Deanna and I have listened to some of the audiobooks, but like that's all I knew about it for a long time was that movie. And yeah. And so that was like, not only is like seen at the drive-thru not necessarily like the best way to gain an actual understanding of what's happening in the movie.
No.
But with like a big
But
group.
it's also a sequel.
Yeah. And then it's also a sequel, and it's also like considered the thing that almost killed the fandom. And so, yeah. So that was my introduction to that.
The first movie was the first time I ever experienced true adaptation disappointment. Just as a person.
Yeah.
It all went downhill from there.
And then we got some more information on Freakier Friday, featuring Lindsay Lohan and Jamie Lee Curtis. We also got the announcement revealed that the guy that plays Jason in A Good Place / is in Acolyte is also in this, Manny.
Fabulous.
And so hyped for that.
So excited.
We got a first look at live action Stitch for the Lilo and Stitch movie. And then we also got a trailer for Snow White, also in live action with Gal Gadot as the evil queen. So the dwarfs, man, they don't look great. And so...
Hey, Cameron.
What's that?
Guess what?
What's that?
I'm really excited for Lilo and Stitch.
Really?
Yes. I was such a Lilo and Stitch kid.
I love
Lilo and Stitch so much. So much.
Yeah, I didn't think of that, but like now that I stop and think, yeah,
which is why I was like, it's what like you wouldn't, it wouldn't come to your head off like very quickly, but when you stop and think about it, it's like, yeah, Emma would like that. It's true.
Yeah.
As a child, Lilo and Stitch was one of my all-time favorite movies, and it still is. I love it, and I'm so excited.
Yeah.
I cannot wait.
Yeah. You're such like an ocean person that like
yes!
that makes so much sense.
I want it right now. Give it to me. I need it. And they learned from Sonic and actually made Stitch decent.
Fuzzy. He's fuzzy.
They made him fuzzy and relatively close to the animated model. And I'm excited.
I'm curious to how that's going to be. It would be Snow White,
but it's already bombing, so...
Yeah.
It's Lilo and Stitch.
Yeah. I also, Deanna and I were talking about this. I feel like Snow White's dress looks super accurate to the animated movie, and that's a problem. Like, I feel like this is the situation where, like, a creative license should have been taken here, and y'all should have not done the actual dress.
Yep.
But Gal Gadot looks great as the evil queen, and so there's that. And then I believe we have two more announcements. We have the reveal that 9 Inch Nails is going to be leading the music side of Tron Ares, taking over from, I believe, Daft Punk for Tron Legacy.
Yeah.
And so very excited for that. I love Tron. And so very excited that we'll be getting more of that. And then we also got a closer look at Mufasa, the Lion King, the prequel to The Lion King. And it is indeed a project they are doing that, like, I'm sure is going to do insanely well after how because it's the Lion King. Like, it's such that was like my take on the air quotes live action remake that they did. It's like, this is great because the core of Lion King is so good. Like,
boy, let me tell you, my best friend and I have so many problems with the quote unquote live action remake.
Yeah.
And it all has to do with the fact that we know so much about animal behavior that, like, everything we look at is just like, there are so many problems with this. The lion isn't emitting any emotion. And that is literally something they can do. We have so many issues.
Yeah.
I could go on about it for hours.
Yeah, it's indeed stuff. It's the like Lion King live action crossed the $1 billion mark. Like here we are. And so I'm very excited. Broadly speaking, I'm very excited for these announcements. There are, of course, like a handful of outliers like Lion King, Snow White, but Toy Story 5 is in there as well. But
I would be more excited about Snow White. Snow White is my favorite Disney princess. So there's that little asterisk there. I would be more excited for that if I didn't already know how many problems have been going on behind the scenes with that movie.
Oh.
Because there have been problems with it. And if I didn't know any of that, I would be more excited. But because I exist within the industry, I know the things that are the problems because people talk.
Yeah.
And I also just exist on those news outlets.
Yeah.
Obviously. So if I didn't know any of that, I would be much more excited for Snow White because she's my favorite Disney princess. Yeah, but I know the things, so I'm like, eh.
Yep. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It definitely makes it a lot more difficult to, like, be excited. And chat, comment section, hit us up. What from D23 are you excited for? What's your number one excited? What's your, like, hopefully this is good? And then what is the, like, what's the thing that you're most, like, scared about? And so let us know what you think for those.
Give me that Lilo and Stitch. All I want is space and aliens and the ocean.
I forgot that space is such a big part of that movie too.
Those
like,
are
that movie goes so many places. Like,
my two favorite things: space and the ocean.
But let's get into our next discussion topic for this week, which is Daredevil and Wolverine.
Daredevil. Oh, that's a completely different movie.
I would also love that movie. Give me the R-rated.
That's such a different movie than the one I saw on Friday.
Yeah, give me the R-rated.
I don't know what you're seeing, but what I saw was Deadpool and Wolverine.
And so, Deadpool and Wolverine, aka Deadpool 3, very excited for us to have a chance to talk about it. We are, of course, as I said at the top, spoiler-free thoughts. We're going to just kind of keep this. Emma had the chance to go see it. I saw it opening night. And so we finally have a chance to kind of get together and chat about it. And so, Emma, kick us off. What have been your thoughts of Deadpool and Wolverine coming straight
So,
off of it?
so many things. The first thing is that I mentioned a little bit at the top. This is the first Marvel movie I was genuinely so excited to see since Endgame. I think I've gone to see at least one other in theaters since Endgame. It was either one of the Spider-Man movies or one of the Guardians movies, but I don't remember. And if that's not the case, it's the first movie I've seen in theaters since Endgame. And it's certainly the first that I've been so stinking excited to see. Because it's Deadpool and Ryan Reynolds is at the helm, which means it's going to be good.
Mm-hmm.
Because he's already proven himself with two other Deadpool movies, because it is his literal passion project. Um, and it was great. And it was everything I wanted from a Deadpool and Wolverine movie. Um, I've probably said it before, and I'll say it again. Wolverine is my second favorite X-Men character. The first is Storm, because women rule. Wolverine is my second. Um, and it was great to see Hugh Jackman back.
Yep.
And it was possibly the best merger of Deadpool and the MCU that I could ask for.
Yeah.
Because it acknowledges all of the MCU stuff that is complete baloney and completely ridiculous, while still being Deadpool crazy and Deadpool awesome, and we love Deadpool. And I was talking to my mom about it before I went to see it, and she was asking me about it. And the one thing I did say was, Deadpool is the one MCU franchise I refuse to watch with my mother. For very good reasons.
Don't blame you for that.
Yeah, like I told her that, like, this is the one part of Marvel I refuse to watch with you, because I know you would hate it and you would have so many problems with it. But that just means to me that they are sticking true to the character that is on paper. They are sticking true to the fourth wall breaking, morally gray anti-hero. And that is the best thing about the movie, because it is consistent from movie 1 to movie 3. High quality all the way through, staying true. Movie 3, Deadpool and Wolverine, is just as good as Deadpool 1. Because there is so much love put into it. And it is great. And I was giggling the entire time. I had a friend with me who doesn't know as much about Marvel, and I was sitting there giggling at all of the points you wouldn't, as an outsider, expect to giggle at. Because when you're an insider with all the information and, like, understand the context of the jokes, you're like, hee, I see that. I see the fourth wall break you did there. With nice pool and things. But, yeah, I loved it. It was great. 10 out of 10.
Yeah. We talked about it before. I'm very positive on the MCU as a whole. I've enjoyed Phase 4. Without going into spoilers, I get made fun of in this movie, and so I appreciate that. And
yeah, you do.
And so I definitely was going into this as someone who has seen, if not every like post Endgame Marvel movie like opening weekend, at least within the first like week and a half of it being out within the first couple weeks. I don't think there's been a movie that I haven't seen in theater, of course, of the ones that were Black Widow as kind of the example there of like that one wasn't released in theaters because of COVID. But for the rest, I have seen in theaters. And wow, the energy going into this movie was so crazy. Of like what I'll highlight as like the post in-game like top 3 being Spider-Man No Way Home, Guardians 3, and now Deadpool 3. Yep. Like the energy going into this movie was so much kind of akin to No Way Home, where there was so much of like what's going on. There's so many theories. There's so many
Yep.
expectations.
Yep.
And I even found myself going back to the line that I had from Spider-Man No Way Home, where it's like, if this movie isn't amazing, it's going to crush me. Like,
Yep.
I am not emotionally prepared to not love this movie.
Yep.
And one of the things that I loved about it is that it's so silly and it doesn't take itself seriously. And at the
Yep.
same time, though, it's not bad because of those things.
Yeah.
Like, I walked out of the theater talking to one of some random person, because I'm the extrovert that talks to random people,
Yep.
of like, a movie can just be fun. And that's what
Mhm.
this movie did so well. There are major
Yep.
things for the MCU. I was very curious to how those were going to tie in. This sets up a lot of cool stuff for the future if this is the direction that people want to go. But like at the same time, on its
Especially
own,
with the TVA.
yes, because like the
I will
TVA,
be general about that statement.
yeah, we know they're
Um,
in trailers, so like that's the
Yeah.
but like this movie on its own is just fun. There's
Yeah.
so many in jokes. There's so many references that like
So
if
many.
you get them, it's amazing. But
Yeah.
they're also just funny. Like you
Yeah.
don't have to like there's a character that has a very thick accent, and
Yes.
if you don't
it is
get
great.
yeah, if you don't get that joke, it's just a silly character, but if you get the joke, it's even better.
Yep.
And so
Yep.
I am so excited for this. I'm so exactly Sneaky. I'm so like happy that this movie has done so well. It has crossed the $1 billion mark. I believe it's currently the second highest grossing R-rated film.
Yes, it surpassed well, it surpassed Logan in terms of MCU Marvel stuff.
Mhm.
But yeah.
Let me Google real quick.
Yeah.
And so, yes. Okay. So, yeah. So, number one is Joker, which is 50 million ahead of Deadpool and Wolverine. And
I
then,
have a feeling it's going to surpass that.
yeah.
I would be surprised if it doesn't.
Yeah. And then Oppenheimer is number 3. Then Deadpool 2 is number 4. And Deadpool is number 5. So,
Yeah.
shout out to Ryan Reynolds and getting this character and now having 3 of the top 5 highest grossing R-rated films. And so,
I mean, the fight this man has put in for the sake
Yeah.
of Deadpool, like, he should get some kind of award for that.
yeah.
He has put so much love into the Deadpool character.
And with like comic book movies being 4 out of the top 5, I kind of go into the joke I made after my slip up earlier, but like it really illustrates that like there are characters that you can do R-rated and people will show up to watch it. Like I
People
legitimately
want that.
yeah, like legitimately, no joke, I want an R-rated Daredevil movie. Like I think
Yes.
that would be super good. Give us like
Because that's a character that fits within the
it
R-rated
fits the
category.
vibe. Yeah. And
It wouldn't make as much sense for like Superwoman or Superman. But for characters like Daredevil and
Exactly.
Deadpool and what's her name? Purple Man.
Jessica Jones.
Like that makes sense.
Mhm.
There are superhero characters out there where it makes sense to put them within that category.
Yeah, I would love to see other properties kind of take this vibe and see where we could go, see what they could do with this. Like, and there's so many like heroes' powers. Like, if you stop and think about them, are so like R-rated, and they just always get played down. And
Yep.
like, another example, they're a completely different universe, but like R-rated Avatar: The Last Airbender. Like
That would be interesting.
there's so much you could do with that IP, and I feel like there's so many like people need to look at these heroes and like look at the story that they could tell with them, and like I feel like there's so much you
Yeah.
could do there. Like like,
If you gave yourself that freedom.
yeah, if like you had like imagine like this kind of hits that Jessica Jones category as well, but like R-rated um, rogue movie. Like her power is so like psychological and brutal, and like that the loneliness that could come with literally not being able to touch people, and like the stories that you could tell with that character grappling with that in a medium where like you could kind of show the full scope of her power. And like not let alone like what you could do from a fight scene perspective of her like taking people's powers and stuff like that. And
100%.
But yeah, so digressed us from that, but like from Deadpool and Wolverine. But
this could be a whole conversation.
Yeah,
a whole episode all on its own.
Yeah. And so yeah, so I'm as somebody that is broadly speaking enjoyed the MCU even post Endgame, I'm very excited that like this is really the third, like I said, probably the third major case of like, look at how good things have like. It kind of hits on my classic thing, like I've said for a long time, of there is no superhero fatigue. There's just disinterest in not good films.
The problem isn't the fatigue. The problem is what is coming out.
Yeah.
I mentioned this in the Discord on Friday after I saw it, but Deadpool and Wolverine has started to renew my faith in Marvel.
Mm-hmm.
What Marvel needs to do now is take a lesson from Deadpool and Wolverine and really apply that back to what they're releasing in the future. Is people want the heart of phases 1 through 3, which is what exists in Deadpool and Wolverine. It's that same heart and spirit of the Avengers timeline, essentially, up into Endgame. And even though that storyline with Thanos is done, and Iron Man is gone, Captain America, Steve Rogers is gone, people are taking their places. Mm-hmm. We want to see that same spirit and energy in those new people. We understand as an audience that those characters aren't going to be around forever. But that doesn't mean that their mission and their energy for their mission is gone with them. We just want the same energy. It can be new stories. We just want the same energy.
Yeah.
It's a whole thing I could get into as a storyteller, but...
Yeah. And I'm there with you of like... And as another fandom illustration, like... A great example here is Game of Thrones and House of the Dragon. Of like the final 2 seasons of Game of Thrones, the final season in particular, like basically erased that fandom. And House of the Dragon like has earned it back. Like that by no means means House of the Dragon has been perfect, but like House of the Dragon has, broadly speaking, put that fandom back in people's minds in a positive way.
It's doing the work to renew the name of the franchise.
Exactly.
Which is why Deadpool and Wolverine has renewed my faith in the MCU.
Exactly.
Because that movie did the work. Not that it needed to, because it's Deadpool and Wolverine, and it's Ryan Reynolds, who I know is going to do a good job with Deadpool because he's proven that in the past. But... it's doing the work anyway, and it's doing the work in a great way.
Yeah. Speaking of doing the work in a great way, our next topic is what has become the massive flop of the Borderlands movie. And so...
definitely not doing the work.
Yes. So, I have not seen this. I do not believe you have seen this either.
I have not. Because opening weekend, it opened with a 0% on Rotten Tomatoes.
Yeah.
So I'm not going to see it in theaters. I'm not going to pay $20 for a movie ticket for something that it got 0% on Rotten Tomatoes on opening weekend.
Yeah.
Which is saying something, because I'll get a movie ticket for something that has 5% on Rotten Tomatoes on opening weekend.
Yeah. I posted this in the Discord on that opening day. I don't like Rotten Tomatoes, but like broadly speaking, I don't like how they measure the fresh, but like I think it's hilarious that like I was like, how bad could it really be? I went to Metacritic and it's a 31% opening weekend with like basically like at a best middling reviews and like oh man. So I did want to bring up that neither of us have seen the movie. I've watched some stuff about the film from people that have seen it, but like
so have I.
Yeah, it's being held up as probably the worst film of the year and taking that title from Madam Web. And so which is impressive. And so
it's going to get an award at the Raspberries for worst film. And it sucks because did I see it coming? Yes. Is it unfortunate? Also yes. Because the Borderlands are some of the first games I ever played when video games first became a major hobby of mine.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I always point to Horizon Zero Dawn and the Borderlands as the first games I ever played when I really started considering video games to be a hobby. And the Borderlands games blew my mind away as much as Horizon, because I didn't think I would like a first-person shooter. And yet the humor and the art style and the stories of the Borderlands was amazing. Like, yeah, it's graphic at times with the humor alone, but that's part of the franchise. It's kind of like Deadpool in that regard. Like, it's not fully Deadpool, but it's, very similar.
It's also apparently not fully Borderlands. So.
Yeah. And it sucks that the movie really just... I saw a video the other day where the person was basically saying that the only thing in Borderlands about the movie is the characters.
Yeah.
The only thing in Borderlands about the movie is the fact that they have characters that look and talked and act and are called the same names as the characters in the games. Nothing else about the movie is Borderlands, which is so unfortunate because it's such a beloved video game franchise that there was so much opportunity there for even the character design to mimic the art style of the game.
And not yet, like the worst wig ever.
Yeah, I was just going to say, and not have Cate Blanchett in the worst wig on the planet, let alone to have actors play the roles of characters 50 years their junior.
Yeah.
You don't have, a 60-year-old playing someone who's 20 years old. That's just not how this works. Yeah. Like, Cate Blanchett, great actor, you don't stick her in the role of someone who's 25 years old. That's not how this works. I'm sorry. But Jack Black was probably the best casting of this entire movie for Claptrap, and even that was a questionable choice.
And apparently it's like one of the worst Jack Blacks we've ever had, just in terms of like what he has to go off of.
Like, that was the one casting I was like, okay, that makes some amount of sense. Like, I could see Jack Black in that role. And now I'm like, okay, everyone's saying it was a terrible casting choice. Great.
They just like gave him nothing to work with. Like, coming off the high that is Jack Black as Bowser. Like, how do you, like, Jack Black is hilarious, and apparently he just has like
Claptrap
no
is
good
one
lines.
of the most irritating characters on the planet intentionally, which is like, Jack Black is a great choice for that, but he just had nothing to go off of at all.
One of the other criticisms that I heard is like, outside of the characters and maybe Pandora, what do you think of when you think of Borderlands?
The art style.
Yeah.
It's such a huge part of the games.
Yeah. And
Pandora
apparently
art style.
Like, this
looting.
just looks, it's like, it's basically like the most like volume, like sets of like, it looks, from what people have said. Then the other side is the guns. Like, the whole time Borderlands has like touted itself as like this cool cell shaded bazillion guns, and people were like, there's 4 guns in the whole movie and none of them are cool. Like, that feels like a huge miss to not have like your characters like kill some bad guy, take their super cool gun, and then this is now something that they have for the rest
That's like a
of
luminescent purple shaded
Exactly.
thing that will eventually heat up and explode.
Yes.
Like
exactly. And so I feel like they had so much to work off of there.
Grenades that teleport to their location and stick to the enemy.
Exactly.
Like
there's so much fun stuff.
Reading the descriptions for Borderlands weapons is as fun as reading the components for D&D spells.
Exactly.
Which sounds like it's not fun, but it is very fun.
Let's hit a little bit of box office for this. I don't know. Have you seen what the box office was for Borderlands?
No, but I want to hear it.
So, we're going to do that. Then we're going to have a little bit of a guessing game. I have 2 other touch points that I want us to compare to. So,
Great. I'm ready for it.
Opening box office in the US and Canada is $8.8 million with
for
a budget
movie that cost $120 million.
Yeah, estimated $115 million budget with $30 million in marketing.
Yep.
So, yeah. So, it did pull in an extra 7.7 globally for a total of 16.5 for opening weekend.
That's still terrible.
Yes.
That's still terrible.
So, but how bad is it, Emma? But to my next point, what did Madam Web get in the box office opening weekend?
Better. Are you kidding? That's going to be better than Borderlands.
How much better?
Okay. Domestically, you said 8.8
talking
for
domestic.
Borderlands? Okay. It was 8.8 domestically for Borderlands? I'm clarifying.
Yes.
It's, both directions, I'm going to say a difference of at most 1.5 to 2 million. So either 6-ish million or 10 million.
Okay. So Madam Web, which is the worst performing Spider-Man related film in history.
Yep.
Premiered with 17.6 million domestic in the box office. Double Borderlands.
Wild.
Right. And
which,
then,
I mean, still is pretty bad, but
right.
Like,
which still is not great. But
yeah.
And then going to a film that I think gets snubbed and I really enjoyed, The Marvels, which is the worst start for a MCU movie in history. I'm not going to make you guess on this one, but The Marvels opened with $47 million domestically, which, like, again, rough for Marvel, but like,
if it were anything but Marvel or like some other major franchise, I'd be like, that's not terrible. If it were like, you know, a standalone film, I'd be like, that's great. But because it's Marvel, I'd be like, come on, guys, I know you can do better.
Yeah. And I just think it's so crazy to like put those in context of like, we were like, oh, The Marvels, it's this big flop, did not do well. And then we went over to Madam Web and like, well, The Marvels did okay. And then now Borderlands has hit this like super low point. Probably doesn't help that it's going against Deadpool and Wolverine, but like,
yeah, that was violent. Even if it didn't, even if it wasn't, it would still do terribly.
Yeah,
in the grand scheme of things.
Yeah, once you can watch Borderlands on streaming, which might be in like 2 weeks, at this point, I would like to hear your take as an editor for it. Because one of the things that I have heard is apparently they shot the movie intending it to be rated R. And then in editing, cut it down to being PG-13.
Yeah, see, that's another instance of what we were talking about earlier, where this really is a franchise that benefits from an R rating.
Yeah.
And it sounds like they started off with that.
Yeah.
But then that got nixed from what it sounds like.
Yeah.
Which is unfortunate.
Apparently, from the reviews that I've watched, shout out to Kind of Funny, they had a good 45-minute video on it. Apparently, there are so many scenes where you can see that they cut prematurely because they needed to get around showing something to not have it be R-rated. And so, if you ever watch this, I really want your take as someone who
Why are they doing this to me?
You're a professional editor, and I want to hear your takeaway.
I hate it.
It hurts me.
It's torture. Like, here's the thing. I am very neutral on the Dune movies, but as an editor, they are stunningly edited. Yep. It is such a uniquely edited movie, and it is beautiful.
They make that sand look good.
They do. You say that as a joke, but it's true.
Yeah, like that the barren wasteland of Arrakis looks so good. Like,
and the way they hold on certain things and cut to, it's just, I could go on a whole rant about how beautifully edited the Dune movies are. Yes, Gyro. He's not interested.
He does not understand the finer points.
He doesn't care.
And
I'm neutral on those movies. I don't care one way or the other, but they're beautifully done.
Exactly.
And that's proof of how important editing is.
Yeah. Last thing that I have for us on this is I mentioned at the top that the CEO of Gearbox has definitely said some things. Randy Pitchford is not necessarily known for like well-reasoned takes. And apparently over on Twitter, he went on a blocking spree. And so he says, yesterday I blocked a bunch of truly nasty accounts. And in the process, I have accidentally blocked at least 3 good accounts, including at least one person I like and have actually met in person. I'm so sorry, sincerely. If I mistakenly blocked you, no excuses. Let me know if I screwed up so I can fix this. Thanks. I don't usually block criticism. I've always profited from it. And I've never been in short supply. Cheers and stay cool. So I want to emphasize here, if I mistakenly blocked you, no excuses. Let me know if I screwed up and I can fix it. He then follows up, tagging, except for that Paul Tassi, who's a writer at Forbes, it was pointed out to me that I blocked him too. So far, I think I accidentally blocked 3 people, not Paul Tassi. I thought he was being a dick, and so him I blocked on purpose. I unblocked him, but I might block him again. Sorry, I had to click see more. Something about that dude's attitude just feels off to me. Like, he continues. We'll stop there because he does get into some other language. But like, dude, like, you're CEO of a company and like executive producer on this film, and you're over here like, this media person said mean things about my film. I'm gonna block him, and I meant it. Like, what are you doing, Randy?
Yeah.
Like, you're so petty. Like, it's just like, if you didn't like it, I didn't mean to block you, but you're blocked. And just like, screw this one guy in specific. Like, come on. Like,
yeah. And it's especially in a scenario of, you know, a lot of the criticisms are genuinely warranted. Like, yeah, it's just,
yeah. And like, I am very pro social media wise, block people.
Yeah.
Like, I'm very pro. I have blocked my handful of people of like, hey, like, I don't need this in my life. You're blocked. But like,
100%. I have absolutely done that myself as well.
Yeah.
It's a healthy thing to do when there are people on the internet whose content you just do not want to be a part of your life. Yeah.
But man, I just feel like if you're CEO of a company and you can't handle people saying stuff about you and what you've done. Like,
especially for a company where the CEO is going to have a very public life.
Yeah.
Like, as the CEO of a video games company, he was also executive producer of the film adaptation.
Right. Like, man, like, again, this is a crazy thing on his part. Like, it would be one thing if you just didn't call attention to it and you're just like, just blocking people, but like making a scene out of it. And then like this makes me, I mean, like, I haven't played Borderlands 3. It's on PlayStation Plus. I would not have paid money for it just based on the reviews, which apparently me saying that means Randy might block me. But like, this just makes me so much less interested. I say, as someone, I know people that work at Gearbox. Like, I know people over there. Like, and it's just like, this is something that like I've kind of come to a very mid-take revelation as I've recently changed jobs, and I'm very happy with the CEO of my company. Of like, it really feels like if you're the CEO that's all over the internet, you're probably doing it wrong. Like, and I can't, like, this does not instill confidence in any project from Gearbox of like, oh, well, why doesn't, like, oh, why weren't there reviews for this product? Oh, well, because Randy has thin skin and isn't going to allow review copies to go out ahead of time. Why? Because he doesn't want his ego to get hurt. Or he would, but he blocked all the game's media that didn't give his game a 10 out of 10. Like,
it's ridiculous. All of it.
And like, it would be one thing too, I feel like, if this was a film that was getting bashed because of its inclusivity. Like, we see that happen with a handful of films and shows of late. But like, it really seems like this film is just getting bashed because it's awful. Like, and
which is appropriate.
Right.
If it's just a terrible adaptation of a beloved franchise, then yes, the criticisms are appropriate.
Yeah. But yeah, again, it's crazy. I don't understand how you could like get here. I don't understand why you would be doing things like that, but I don't know. Here we are. I didn't call this out earlier, but like, we use a Google Docs for our show notes, and it's like a bulleted list of the topics that we're going to talk about. And so I had Borderlands as my topic, and then Emma added a note below it that so the topic is Borderlands movie flops, Gearbox CEO says some things. Then below it, Emma just put shocker, parentheses, not. And so, yeah.
Yeah. But, am I surprised? No, not at all.
And so I think that this also goes back to tying this back into Deadpool and Wolverine, tying this into some other conversations as well around things like Fallout, The Last of Us. Like, this really, like, I think emphasizes that, like, it's not that video game adaptations are bad. It's that this one is bad.
Yeah.
Like, Fallout and like did really well, was very positive received by the fans of that franchise. The Last of Us turned so many people into fans of The Last of Us.
It is possible and very doable to do a good adaptation of a well-loved video game.
Yeah.
It's not impossible at all. It's just up until recently, all we've ever known are bad adaptations.
Yeah. And I equate that a lot.
Are going good, like with The Last of Us and the one you just mentioned, Fallout. Yes, Fallout. And it's just unfortunate that there's still things out there that are going poorly.
Right. And I really think that, like, it, to me, one of the things it emphasizes is, like, what do people that are fans of the games want? It to feel like the game.
Yeah.
And, like, that's really the biggest thing of, like, yeah. And again, I have no intention of seeing this. This is probably the last time we're going to ever talk about the Borderlands movie, except to like make jokes about it.
Yeah.
But like,
if this is released on a streaming platform that I have access to and I'm paying for, then I'll probably watch at least 10 minutes of it.
Yeah.
So that I could make jokes about it, but I'm not going to pay additional money to watch it.
One of the review that I listened to, they did say the first 15 minutes of it are actually good. And then it's like downhill from there. So like,
then why didn't they just like I would watch an hour and a half film of just the first 15 minutes if that's the case.
Yeah. But yeah, so that's Borderlands movie. If you have seen the movie, chat, or YouTube comments, please let us know what you think. Like, are the critics right? Where are the reviews hitting? I wanted to go to Metacritic. I wanted to see where it was sitting currently. It's currently sitting at a 27, so it's down from the 31 that it had opening day. And so, but yeah, let us know what you think about the movie. For our announcements, we do have book club at the end of the month on August 27th. We're going to be reading the latter half of Doctor Strange and Mr. Norrell by Susanna Clarke. We did have our book club on the first half of it, the first 35 chapters, in which we, have thoughts. And I'm very excited for the second part. This is our first time. We're doing Hefty Tome Summer. Every summer we do a theme. And so the theme for this one was a big book that we wouldn't normally be able to do in book club just because of how we podcast as a hobby, not as a job. And so we're reading this. It's been very interesting taking this book into two halves when the middle of the book is not a great stopping point. And so I'm very interested to see our thoughts as we get back to it. So chapters 36 through 70 is what we'll be talking about on August 29th, as well as, of course, tying those in with the first half of the book. I did go through and I did make a list of all of our predictions from the episode. And so we'll, of course, have those as we look forward at the rest of the book as well. And so, and then right before we go into post-show chat, remember, you can find us around the internet as OneGeek411. You can join that Discord server. Shoot us an email at 1stgeek411@gmail.com. Check out the Redbubble store. Watch live on Twitch and YouTube. And, of course, like, comment, and subscribe over there. And then you can find us at our personal social media. Mine is Humar Whittle.
Mine is I am not prepared with an eye in the prepared.
And it's been a great week.
Watch a good movie.
It was Agatha all along. Dun, 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 dun.